H model, which was the latest model of the F-86 fighter that was in the Korean War and all that, a 10-to-1 kill ratio against MiGs. Pretty hot fighter. This airplane had been overhauled, supposedly brought up to new configurations, and I picked it up at the factory, and I was to deliver it to Massachusetts, to a National Guard unit. We took off from Ontario, California, where the plant was, and my wingman was flying this airplane, and it had a overheat light come on, which is a yellow light on the cockpit, which means there's a overheat condition back in the tail end of the aircraft or on the tailpipe. Not really life-threatening, but concerned because there's something going on back there that's not supposed to be going on. So I changed the flight plan, and we landed at Williams Air Force Base in Arizona. So I had him come in and land first while I circled around. Dumb son of a bitch stopped, caught the airplane, jumped out, and ran with the airplane sitting on the runway. Which closed the airfield. And they're giving me bullshit because I'm the flight leader. And I towed the damn thing off the field, and so we circled around everything. They towed it off the field and landed. He was afraid afraid to fly the airplane again. So I said, I'll take the airplane. You go on, take mine. So they worked on it and they test flew it, and it was still leaking fuel out of the back end of the airplane, which is not good.
not usually.
So they brought it back in, they worked on it some more, they flew it one more time. They said, okay, you're clear to go. So I took off. It just got up to 40,000 feet, setting up cruise, which was 1957. We owned the airspace above about 15,000 feet. There was nothing else that was up there. And we just take off and go. Well, everything's fine. All of a sudden, the yellow light came on, the same problem in the back, and then the red light came on. Now, the tech reps that had built this thing had briefed us that if that red light comes on, you got 12 seconds to get out of there. 40,000 feet, doing the 0.87 Mach, which is about 685 miles an hour, I guess. And like a dumb shit, I stop-cocked the throttle and pitched up and looked back, and there's black smoke. This is no drill. So, there's a detail you go through. You stop-cock the throttle, you pull the little lanyard here that gives you 100% oxygen in your oxygen mask. You raise the seat handles, and that blows the canopy. You squeeze the trigger, and that fires you out of the seat, and you're sitting on like a 40-millimeter cannon shell. Which is a hell of a boost.
You've never sat the same since, have you?
So, at that speed, I'm tumbling, and my mask rips off. This is not good at 40,000 feet. I got a hold of the mask, and I got it reconnected. And I'm still tumbling, and I could see my legs against the sun, and it looked like a couple of pairs of spaghettis up there, just moving around. And I started falling. So I had a 25,000 foot free fall, and I got all stabilized, and I raised the visor up, but I couldn't see because of the wind blast that screwed up my eyeballs. And I finally got stabilized, and I looked around, see, where's the airplane? So much had exploded.
No kidding.
And I saw a water hole off in the desert, and I was about 50 miles south of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I saw the water hole and I said, well, I'll head for that. You know, my survival gear kicked in. Well, it took me about an hour to get to that water hole, and I got there and I got some water. Well, I ought to go back to the landing fall. They preach when you hit the ground, you roll, you know, you lose. And before I could do that, my heels went up through my ass. And the wind was blowing about 35 miles, and the chute was out there like a spinnaker on a sailboat. It's dragging me across the desert. The cholla cactus was and
They just went from bad to worse, didn't it?
Is all of this story true? Because, you know.
the parachute had two quick release things that would just disconnect from you. Well, in those days, the Air Force had a suggestion program that you suggested to something that you got a $25 war bond or something. Well, somebody suggested that the parachute was a very valuable survival tool. You could make bandages out of it, you could make a hammock, you could make a tent, you could do all these new things. So they disconnected one of the quick releases. Unfortunately, that was the one I couldn't get to. I was trying to get to this one, and it was sewed shut. So here I am going across the desert in the cholla cactus like a surfboard. So I start pulling in the airport risers, and I get the thing of just about collapsing. The gust of wind would come up, go swoop, and away I go again. Finally got in, got to the water hole, laid out the parachute, and weighted it down with rocks as a survivals. It had the red and white panels on it. I'm waiting for the helicopter to come and pick me up. Never helicopter. I went out at 8 o'clock in the morning, and about maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I heard this rattle-trapply noise. I look up, and here comes an old 1946 Ford pickup can coming out of the hills. No roads out there. And I waved, and he stopped. And I went down, and I said, can you take me to town? He didn't speak English. So I said, telefono, ciudad, por favor. Oh, the guy said, okay. I said, un momento, and I went back, got my parachute and helmet, and I threw it in the back of the truck. Doing that, he's looking at me, and he reaches behind the things and rigged out his old 30-30 carbine and sets it down over here.
Alien.
He took me to Los Lunas, New Mexico, to the courthouse. Long walkway up, cottonwood trees on each side, adobe building. I walk into the front door, and here's a counter, and behind the counter is these little ladies filling out water bills and electric bills. And here I am all bloody and cactus sticking in my flying suit, and silence. I look down the hall, here's the sheriff's office. Sign hanging out on the door. I walk in there, and now it's like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, and so help me. Here's a roll top desk with a Mexican clerk there, and on top of the roll top desk is a radio, and it's broadcasting a broadcast to all the police stations in New Mexico. There's an aircraft missing. Has anybody heard an explosion or seen a crash? And this guy's writing this down, and I tapped him on the shoulder and said, tell him I'm here and I'm okay. Albuquerque, this is Las Lunas. The airplane is here. The airplane is here. No, the airplane's here. And he's blocking all the reports. You know, they're supposed to report an order around Tucumcari and New Mexico and Las Cruces and so forth. So I walk down the hall and there's a telephone in the sheriff's office. Nobody's there. So I pick up the black dial telephone, dial operator. I call, like a collect call to base operations at Kirkland Air Force Base in Albuquerque. The operator puts a call through and he says, "We have a call from Lieutenant Boggie, somebody, base operations officer, will you take the call?" He said, "I'm sorry, man, we have an emergency." Operator! I can hear you. I think I am the emergency. So,